Good evening to one and all. We are in the concluding lecture of this series. There are a couple of words or letters written in the title. Some of you may be familiar if you have checked the Google and tried to find out. And the others who haven't done so, the words should be new. So I think I should ideally read the title so that all of you hear it more than once. Keratoconus. Till about 7 years ago, I had not heard of it. Retinoblastoma, I heard in a seminar. It's an open day in all the Institute of Medical Sciences. That's where I heard about it. This, acronym MOOKP, difficult to pronounce. MOOKP is connected with one particular modern eye hospital in Chennai. I shall refer to the hospital soon. The question that is being raised in this title and through the lecture is, can Ayurveda and allopathy go hand in hand? There is a certain connection, a hypothesis. Yes, we discussed the other day topic. Can cataract be delayed or reversed? The answer was in the affirmative. It was a positive in the case of dogs and rabbits. By 2023, 2024, it has not yet fully become a positive answer in the case of human beings. But under certain conditions, the extension seems to be valid. So our title for today is Keratoconus, Retinoblastoma, MOOKP, and Ayurveda in eye diseases. Pardon me, excuse me, if these titles look a little, unexpected. All of us know allopathy. It's about, not very old. Ayurveda is very, very ancient and very typical for our country, for India. And shall we say, the importance of Ayurveda and allopathy in our daily life is something that we need to understand. And I shall refer to a few people who have contributed to this area in a big way. And some of them are around, some have already gone on to higher life, as we refer to in our prayer in college. And in India, do we have a state-of-the-art eye treatment or diseases for treatment for eye diseases based on Ayurveda? These are some of the questions that are being raised and will be to some extent answered this talk. As we look at the rest of the talk, go ahead. And that is, you see, that is Ayurveda as an alternative or as a complementary treatment to allopathic medicines. You see, I don't know whether there should be a competition between the two or whether they can be complementary to each other, and whether even the ancient Ayurveda can be state-of-the-art Ayurveda. Why this overemphasis on the eye? As I grow older and older, I understand eye is the window to the world. Eye possibly controls our immune system. And, we under different situations find that we injure our eyes. Even in young age, overexposure to many of the modern gadgets also contributes in some measure. Why should we consider Ayurveda? It's based mostly on use of herbal ingredients and natural materials with little or no side effects. And this has been in practice in India for more than 1,000 years. On the other hand, allopathy is based on mostly synthetic drugs. As a chemist, well, this talk of mine, I had tried to see that there is no chemical structure put on any of the slides. Why? How do I justify as a chemist? Because we chemists have got obsessed with chemical structures. We're trying to isolate vitamin C from a citrus fruit. We forget that the citrus fruit has some useful effects as an entire entity, not necessarily taking out one chemical from it. And allopathy, many of us have heard in these lectures, lots of side effects. But remember, allopathy, I don't want to say chemotherapy, because chemotherapy has come to be associated with one disease, the dreaded disease of cancer. I'm not talking of chemotherapy. I'm saying use of allopathy, which is based mainly on synthetic drugs, is something which started only around 1900. So it's just a century old. Allopathy gives quick results. You want the fever to go down in 45 minutes? Yes, the fever goes down. You want the pain to go down? Goes down. Ayurveda is slow treatment, but safe. In this next slide, you see a photograph of a very wonderful person, Bloomberg, who won his Nobel Prize for work on Australia antigen. Once I remember having gone to a hospital in Munich, Germany, and brought some Australia antigen in my flight. There is a plant available all over India. It is called Kivanalli, which is botanical name is Phyllanthus neruri. The plant is, small leaves. It grows widely. But if you can identify it, you can add it to your pharmacopoeia. In St. Stephen's College, there was a Mali, a gardener, who learnt it from me. And he used to treat people for jaundice. In India, traditional treatment of jaundice, as it is, there is little, for this liver disease, there is little or no treatment in allopathy. All that the doctors will prescribe is Liv 52, which is a natural preparation, and a high amount of concentration of glucose to be kept in the case of the patient till the patient recovers. But the problem is that people understood that, not problem, it's a solution, kind of a solution. So this leaf, if it is crushed, since it is a little bitter, they allow you to put a little of good, some form of sugar, and you eat it on empty stomach. The bilirubin levels drop considerably. The patient is helped to recover faster. So this Mali, the gardener in St. Stephen's, learned it from me. And he was approached by, I don't know whether you would like to hear this, there may be some such references here, which may sound unscientific, unchemical, but the fact is the Phyllanthus neruri actually controls. Can we go back to the last slide? Actually contains phyllanthine, which I'm not discussing here, but you can approach and read this in the internet. Dr. Sukhdev, who is close to 100, and Dr. Nityanand, Stephanian, got the Padma Shri award. I think both of them are Padma Shri awardees. And Dr. Nityanand lived to 100 in Lucknow, Stephanian, with the 1942 batch or so on, did PhD from Cambridge. They studied, lowering of cholesterol using Google resin available in India. But on top, if you see in red, is written Arogya Pacha, Trichopus zelinicus, Selanicus, Zelinicus, Zelinicus, Trichopus zelinicus. Now, people somewhere in Kerala, actually I'm speaking to you from about 45 minutes from the Kerala border, 40 minutes from the Kerala border. So I'm getting cool breeze, and the northeast monsoon is setting in through the Palghat Pass. Beautiful breeze, cool breeze blows into this area where I'm sitting and talking to you. Google reduces cholesterol levels. Arogya Pacha was found in a group of tribals. The next slide, you will possibly see a reference to it, where the tribals never fell sick. They hardly wore any dress. I don't know how many of you are from Kerala and how many have stayed for some time in Kerala. Dr. Pushpangadan was in this research center, well-equipped research center. He heard of Arogya Pacha. And he made some extracts from Arogya Pacha. Arogya Pacha means a certain material which keeps you healthy away from disease. Arogya keeps you healthy away from disease. These tribals never fell sick. And he, actually isolated some compounds, not in purified form, semi-purified forms. Did many tests on those. It turned out to be true. And I had referred to Bloomberg. Bloomberg worked in collaboration with IIT Madras and published spectacular papers on how Kivanalli, the plant that I referred to, Phyllanthus neruri, actually helps control or cure jaundice, a liver disease. Professor Pushpangadan became a Padma Shri, subsequently became director of that lab in Lucknow, which is mentioned in his brief CV. I was to meet him once, but somehow the appointment was there, the vehicle was being sent for me to go to his lab. I never met him till to date. I should try and meet him. What is important is a tribe he saw takes a bark of the tree and just puts it in the mouth and keeps chewing it. They never fall sick. He got it patented in the name of the tribe. Believe me, he got it patented in the name of the tribe. So all the proceeds go to the tribe and not they be deprived of it. This is a beautiful building settled in a very beautiful green area, 1 hour's drive from Kottayam, which is in Kerala. Some people in the audience may know. But this is in the small town called, it's a little difficult to pronounce, Kulam. And if you drive another 2 kilometers into the place, you reach a state-of-the-art Ayurvedic eye hospital named Sridhariyam. I had actually, there is an E missing, Sridhariyam, S-R-E-E, Dhariyam. This hospital is a state-of-the-art eye hospital treating eye diseases. It is able to treat patients suffering from retinitis, retina pigmentosa, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, which means, glaucoma where the eye pressure increases. Diabetes or diabetics have problems with their retina. And they became very famous some 20, 30 years ago when they treated some children from one particular community where marriages between cousins was very common. We spent more than a few occasions in this hospital. It's a Kerala-based treatment method and is very successful. I am not suggesting that you make a beeline for it. It is both preventive and curative. I was attending a 1-week program organized by SpeakMakke. Many of you are aware of SpeakMakke, which the organization which organizes programs in colleges for music, dance, art, culture. The photograph shows Dr. M.S. Walia Khan, who died just a couple of months ago at ripe old age. At the end, he was, I think, in Manipal, attached to the Manipal institutions. A remarkable man. He's a heart specialist. He organized and set up the Sri Chitra Tirunal Hospital in Trivandrum for cardiac diseases, heart diseases. And he was giving a talk on Charaka Samhita. He knew a very good Sanskrit. So it's a great advantage if you know more than one language. He was a Malayali, married to a lady from Punjab. And he knew Malayalam, he knew Tamil, I presume, he knew English, he knew Sanskrit brilliantly. So he had read Charaka Samhita in the original. And he was giving a talk for 1 hour to these young children. I was in the audience. After 1 hour, I raised my hand and said, "Sir, excuse me. I don't want these 800 children to go with the wrong impression that you are some, don't misunderstand me. I don't think all, Ayurvedic treatment doctors or, physicians have to have the beard and long hair. You see Dr. Valiathan, who knew Charaka Samhita better than anybody else in India. At the end of his talk, I asked him, sir, I know you have spoken on Charaka Samhita, and I appreciate your talk was brilliant. There, I wanted to tell you a story when I was, with the photograph of Dr. Pushpangadan, a story about a noseless soldier. Here, I'm thinking, who became the personal physician of Buddha? No. I'm not talking Valiyatan as the Buddha's doctor, no. But there's some story which I may not want to mention till the end of this talk, or I shall mention if you ask me during the question answer session. One is, what is this about a noseless soldier? Huh? He doesn't have a nose, the soldier. Yes. Good story I heard from Dr. Valiyatan. Similarly, I heard the story about this, the person who taught and then became, a Buddha's personal physician. Sridharyam, as I have referred to, is a state-of-the-art. You can, eye hospital, Ayurvedic eye hospital. It could be called the oasis for the eye. Now, please remember, I am not against any form of treatment. Person who gets a disease wants to get cured in any manner. If there is a suitable treatment with little or no side effects. So, if both Ayurveda and allopathy and other forms of medicine today, Tibetan medicine is very popular. There are other Siddha medicine, Siddha method of treatment. Homeopathy is very popular in Bengal and some places. Sridharyam is a purely Ayurvedic method of treatment, but they do many traditional things like, they will make you lie down and then they will put drop by drop over 1 hour or so, form oil drops. They'll do massage. They will give you things to drink from about, say, 5 o'clock in the morning. But they measure your blood pressure, they measure your temperature, they measure your sugar. If there is some problem with any of these parameters, they will allow you to take crocin or an appropriate drug. They do not ban it. But it is not purely Ayurvedic. But today I haven't gone to that place for many, many years now. I wrote a piece in English, just was translated into Malayalam by somebody else for their magazine and so on. But now today, in my lab, even in my new lab, I don't have an LCMS. Too costly for me. I want on a routine basis a liquid chromatography mass spectrometry instrument. They have this in Sridharyam. All their measurement methods are ultra modern. So don't have a feeling that, and an ordinary man in Kerala knows something very good. He goes to the Ayurvedic doctor when he has stomach problems. He goes to the super specialist when he understands he has a serious problem with his heart. And here is Dr. M.S. Valiyathan. I don't know whether I pronounced his name properly. Valiyathan, who combined his knowledge, Charaka Samhita, with himself being, he said, thank you for, raising this question and gives me a chance to talk about my active heart valve, which I have developed in Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences, Trivandrum or Tiruvananthapuram, which is already at that time, 2008, planted into the hearts of 17,500 Indians. Today, the number must be much, much larger, at 1/4 the cost of the imported one, and it is working as well. Remarkable. That means we cannot be only boasting of some science or some method of treatment that was 1,000 years old, and we do not put it to modern tests, modern characterization methods. So it's a blend of the old with modern techniques of science that we know and medicine. Next slide shows you. I want to warn you at this stage. Please, I am not overselling any form of medicine. I am not trying to oversell any form of medicine. I'm trying to give you information. See, on the right extreme, the eye has retinopathy. And in the middle, there is some acute, angle closure, which is leading to glaucoma. The glaucoma, the pressure, one patient came, I was there, she had a blood and the pressure in the eye of 45 units. Within 10-15 days, Sridhariam brought it down to close to normal levels, possibly 22. I do not know who all are present in this audience or our group. If there are any, happen to be any doctors who are eye specialists, they should tell me, question me, and announce their presence. Then I would like to be asked them for making some remarks. I do not know. I am not checking who all is present. Now, that means similarly, retina pigmentosa. All these diseases or some angiogenesis, unwanted proliferation of blood vessels in the eye. You must have seen sometimes the eye becomes red and you can see lines where there are red color, which means blood is there, unwanted, I hope, doesn't lead to. India has now very good eye hospitals, but I'm going to not mention Rajendra Prasad Eye Hospital in New Delhi, or for that matter, LV Prasad Eye Hospital in Arvind Eye Hospital in Madurai, LV Prasad in Hyderabad, and there are many other companies who have come into a big way. But remember, what the man in Kerala in particular knows, Ayurvedic treatment is not that costly, and it has little or no side effects. Diseases like stomach ailments and so on, he will handle. But he knows if he goes to a 5-star hospital, not 5-star hotel, but a 5-star hospital, for every test that is done, he has to shell out money. So he's very intelligent. He switches between an allopathic doctor and an Ayurvedic specialist. Hey, very interesting slide. What I'm going to narrate to you is I got to know this in the year 2000 in St. Stephen's College. One day, we both met with a road accident. And the hospital that we eventually chose was St. Stephen's Hospital in Tisasari. After a week, they asked us to go to Shankar Netralaya, Chennai. I had not heard of this place. On the right is Dr. S.S. Badrinath, who passed away November 2023. I got to know him very closely as a very devoted person. He had just come back from America, having been treated, having been trained how to do vitreous retinal surgery. So he came to Chennai, joined the Agarwal Eye Hospital, which exists even today. You see sometimes advertisements of Agarwal Eye Hospital, even in the national TV channels. He received a call from Kanchipuram, which is about 2 hours drive from Chennai. This is an apocryphal story. There are 2 more stories pending. Maybe I'll stop this story in the middle, but if you like, please do hear. He received a call from Kanchipuram that he is called Periyava. He was the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, who lived almost to 100. He is highly, people hold him very in high esteem even after his passing away. The unbelievable stories associated with that one that I'm going to mention, I narrated in the hall in Shankar Netralaya in the presence of Dr. S.S. Badrinath and his wife. At the bottom left is shown the hospital, and this is 2 photographs of Shankar Netralaya, Chennai, in the heart of Nungumbagam, Chennai. So the telephone call said, the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, Kanchi Kamakoti, is having very big problem with his only eye. The other eye was operated for cataract, and then he has to do puja in the temple. So he would take head bath 3 times a day. Nowadays, the restrictions are not so many, but even these days, if you undergo a cataract operation, the doctor tells you, don't splash water onto your face, do not take head bath for at least 15 days or a month, because that may dislodge and not help your eye vision. So Badrinath and the Kanchi sage were brought together. So the Dr. S.S. Badrinath had a condition. He said, all right, you say, I'm a young doctor. I had just come back from America. I'm not sure about my job. I may have to go back to America. And if I operate on you as such a famous personality, suppose I spoil your only eye, people will blame me. So please, for God's sake, you should not, if I operate on you, you should not take head bath for a month. Shankaracharya agreed. But he had another condition. The operation should be done in Kanchipuram. Where is the operation theatre? A Kacha operation theatre which sanitized was set up. One more condition. He said, you, the doctor should have come after a proper bath and he should be wearing traditional dhoti and so on. What a condition. The doctor agreed to all this. But the Shankaracharya had one more condition. He said, I will allow you to do cataract operation on my eye, but the precondition is you will not give me any anesthesia. I'll show you the eye, you can do whatever you want to do. Strange condition. But Dr. Badrinath, who did the operation and went back every morning at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., he and his wife will drive from Chennai to Kanchipuram to put drops and inquire about the state of health of the sage. So he heard me, never questioned me. It's an apocryphal story. You may believe it, you may not believe it. Please don't try to prick your eye with any pin or so on. Even if you are pricked, you cry so loudly. There's so much of pain. What is pain? Can you overcome pain in other ways without giving an anesthesia treatment or an anesthetic being used? This story tells you that it happened in this case. So don't believe me. Now Dr. Badrinath is gone. Mrs. Badrinath is around. And I have been very closely associated with the Shankar Netralaya Chennai. Let me thank them. If any of them are listening or listen to this talk of mine, even this year in 2024, after nearly 24 years, my wife underwent a successful operation, eye operation in Shankar Netralaya under a very old senior doctor, Prema Padmanabhan, who did such a great job that my wife is very happy. At the end of this entire incident, the Shankaracharya asked the young man, why are you wanting to go back to America? All our students, young students in India want to go to America, England, Germany, Japan, get married there, live there happily for all the rest of their lives, forget about their country. Hey, you are all my devotees. Can't you collect some money for this young doctor so that he stays back in India? Till his last days, he stayed in India, and the Shankaracharya got some money collected. So the name of the hospital is Shankara Netralaya. Dr. Badrinath sent me to Guwahati to see another beautiful hospital set up on his suggestion. This is Shankara Deva Eye Hospital in Guwahati. And the doctor has done such tremendous service that people think he is almost a god. Next slide shows you. This is regarding keratoconus. I'm not an eye doctor, but I understand when there is a bulging of the eye, it may be keratoconus. And what I'm trying to say is this is connected to the bondings in collagen present in the human eye. But I have told you we have made some new cross-linkers, and I don't know whether Dr. Arun Sethi has joined us today. He runs a very wonderful hospital in Faridabad, Deseret Hospital. He's been touring many countries recently, giving talks. His wife does most of the surgery. His sons are also in the same hospital, Deseret Hospital, sector, I think, 56, Faridabad. Or is it sector 56, Gurugram? I may be mistaken. It's not Faridabad, it's Gurugram. They have this method. The Sri Dhariyam Hospital, the Ayurvedic hospital, has methods to treat keratoconus. Please let us enjoy this very short video. What they do is, they put a layer of nothing else but riboflavin vitamin B2 and expose the eye to ultraviolet light in a manner that no damage is done to the eye. This cross-linking occurs within the collagen and the bulging of the eye improves, patient recovers. This treatment is available in Dr. Arun Sethi's hospital. He showed me the kit. It's a short treatment for a few minutes. A small coating of riboflavin is put on the eye, and then the eye is exposed for a short while with ultraviolet light. When the cross-linking happens and the bulging of the eye diminishes or decreases or disappears, patient becomes normal. No harm is done to the eye in any other manner, only that upper layer of the bulging goes down. We are moving away from keratoconus to, I presume, you'll see the photograph of a young child with a very special feature in her eye. And this, that's the UV treatment, short UV treatment. We're not supposed to see UV light, but if you work with, say, 366 nanometer, it's near the visible spectrum, but it does the cross-linking successfully. Next slide shows us this young girl, and this problem happens with children, particularly in the age group 5 to 7, 5 to 8. I think the audience can see this video on their own in the internet with a good voice. So what happens is, we'll maybe come back to retinoblastoma, the next slide. This is what MOOKP stands for. Modified osteoodontokeratoprosthesis. This Italian professor, who is put on a tie and is sitting on the left of this lady, the name of the lady is Dr. G. Sita Lakshmi. She learned this technique, and there's an entire department, Shankar Netralaya, where this procedure is available. This procedure is available. This is called modified osteoodontokeratoprosthesis. Why all these words? What does it mean? I'll tell you. What they do here is they take one of the canine tooth from the patient, one of the canines, the tooth here, and they plant it somewhere near the ear, here, somewhere on the face. And the patient has to carry this tooth on the face for about 2-3 months. We were asked to go to Chennai. We went, we were tested over the day, but found unfit or not fit enough to get this treatment. What does it do? Or it can be on the shoulder. The tooth planted on the shoulder. Imagine you are going around St. Stephen's College. I hope this doesn't happen to any one of us. With a tooth showing on your right hand shoulder or left hand shoulder, wherever the eye is, or on your face near your ear. Looks ridiculous. Over a period of 3 months, what happens is the tooth is pulled out, so it has grown a bit of that material required for making the cornea. A small hole is drilled in the eye, and this tooth is planted and screwed into the middle of the eye. And over a period of time, the cornea grows on its own. The patient recovers full sight. This department is open and available in Shankar Netralaya, Chennai. I do not know whether this service available in. You may not believe me. How are you? What are you telling? क्या बता रहे हैं? एक दांत को निकाल के यहाँ लगा दिया, या शोल्डर में लगा दिया, कंधे पे लगा दिया, और 3 महीने बाद उसको निकाल के आंख के अंदर स्क्रू करके लगा दिया, फिर वो कॉर्निया खुद ग्रो कर जाएगा. सर क्या हम स्टूडेंट्स हैं, हमने साइंस कर रखा है, आप तो ऐसे कोई फिक्शनल कहानी बता रहे हैं. यार सीता लक्ष्मी ने actually she successfully set up the department. On the day she was to receive an award, I don't know whether it's the same day, she dressed up beautifully at 8 a.m. in the morning, put on a very beautiful silk sari. And I remember a young child rushing up to the two of us and came to my wife and said, Oh, princess, princess, and went right inside her sari and stood inside hiding. This in Germany. He couldn't believe saris can be so beautiful. Something tragic happened. She had a major heart attack and dropped dead. Her husband, Dr. Trehan, still heads the research and development wing in Shankar Netraya. It's a very sad story. She dropped dead because of a massive heart attack. But she had done a great job before that. What she had done was, she did not keep any secrets away from her students. She trained many students. Those who are teachers, this audience, including me, must note what a great job she did. Though she died, this MOOKP, modified osteo, odonto refers to the tooth, osteo presumably to the bone, kerato, skin or whatever, prosthesis is an additional item that can be added to the eye or to the human body. Prosthetics did a great job. The technique did not die with her. The students continued. This is the handing over the baton by the professors. I was in the Alderney Institute of Medical Sciences. The director of medical science, AIMS, Delhi, said, "Oh, I did not know. You would think that is an error in the eye of that child when somebody has taken a photograph with a digital camera. You know, in digital cameras, you get a red of the eye. And there is a small correction available. If you apply that, the red of the eye disappears. This is not that. This is a white thing that you are seeing in the child's eye. Believe me, if she's rushed to the hospital, if she's in the age bracket 5 to 7, the child can completely recover. And this problem may not recur in later life. But if the parents do not know, if they are uneducated, if they do not know there are such facilities available in India, they cannot detect. So whenever you take a photograph of any child in the age bracket 5 to 7, 5 to 8, and you see a photograph very similar to this, not the red of the eye, but the white of the eye, please take the child in a hurry to the nearest eye hospital or to a cancer specialist, because this is cancer of the eye. Not only will the child become blind, the child will also die because of cancer, spreading to the other parts of the body. Whereas children, I told you doxorubicin, an anti-cancer drug. That drug was suggested by Dr. Nitya Anand when I went to his home. He was very old in life, made tea for me and my wife, and he said, "Nahin, yaar, doxorubicin pe kaam karo." Doxorubicin, as bought from China in hydrochloride form, is red in color. So we added small amounts of bicarbonate dissolved in methanol, no water, became a deep blue. We knew we had removed the hydrochloride, neutralized it. We immediately removed the solvent. Again, we got the red color of the drug. Children are able to take doxorubicin without many side effects. This is information for all of you. This is not for kids the age bracket of college students. Mostly it happens. One mother got up and said, "My child got a similar problem at the age of 12. But rare. It's mostly in young children. Retinoblastoma of the eye. I hope I'm not wrong. Cancer of the eye. Next slide. You see, we are now through with our presentations. Today it has been relatively quick. So I'll go back to the two stories that I did not describe to you, if you allow me. One was, these are also unbelievable stories, but I have heard the story from none other than Dr. M.S. Baliathan. He told us, this audience, that in the British days, there was a person who came to the boss, a Britisher, Englishman, and said, "Sir," he had his hand on top of his nose. And he said, sir, what is it? "Sir, give me 10 days leave." "What for?" "Sir, allow me to go to my native place. My nose has been cut. So allow me, I will go and get it refixed in 10 days. The Englishman said, yes, 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 you can go. Then there was another Englishman who was his junior, working under him. He said, "Iske piche piche jao." You follow him wherever he goes. This man went towards somewhere near Pune. And this Englishman, the junior, also followed him. He saw the entire procedure that was done on him, and the nose was refixed. Even today, if you search in the internet, अरे किसी का नाक कैसे कट जाता है? Is it a daily event? No. In India, there is a phrase in Hindi, उसकी तो नाक ही कट गई. That is somebody who's, put to shame in society. We say उसकी नाक कट गई. But this is a physical case where the nose had come off. Somebody had chopped it off. So, believe me, this Englishman came back and the two Englishmen together compiled the whole paper and published it in Lancet in England. Even today, accidentally, if somebody's nose is cut, if that man preserves this under proper conditions and rushes to a hospital, the nose can be refixed. Again, be difficult to believe, but this is a story I heard from Dr. M.S. Valiathan while he was addressing the students in Manipal. The other one concerns a certain figure, a person from Bengal who went around doing Bharat Brahman, who covered the length and breadth of India. And this is somewhere between the years 1888 and 1892. He reached, I'm not naming the place, person. You can understand who it is, because he became very famous on the 11th of September 1893, because he made some statement in Chicago, which was well received in America, we hear. This young man went to a place called Ghazipur in, near the Nepal border. And he heard from people, there is somebody living inside a cave here who doesn't eat anything. What? Doesn't eat anything? How is it possible? So people called him Pavanahari Baba. What is the name? One who eats only air, or Pavahari Baba. So this boy had done philosophy and history and English literature. He was very good in Sanskrit. He was doing a Bharat Brahman. So he told this man, he talked to him, discussed. The man, the Baba, was inside the cave, and this young man was on the other side of the cave outside. He said, but you are so knowledgeable. Why don't you come out and teach the world? This story I heard and read in my childhood. I like it very much. This led to a story which I'm narrating to conclude. Nakkata sadhu, noseless sadhu. So the Baba narrated, somebody was caught in India in those days. Sometimes one form of punishment was not to put the person in prison, but chop off his nose. This man was so ashamed. I don't want to name a person. The university inspection team, I was serving as the examination superintendent in St. Stephen's College. Suddenly somebody came, sir, the university, flying squad has come and caught a Stephanian copy. So I went there, they handed over the boy to me. And I brought him to the superintendent's office. I won't name the person. So I said, okay, now you give a confessional statement. He wrote a page and gave it to me. I said, now if you want, you can take another answer book and go and continue your examinations. He said to me very politely, as a gentleman, he said, sir, I'm too ashamed. Please allow me to go home. We did not cut off his nose. But in the case of this man, the story, the man had lost his nose. So he was so ashamed, he went into the forest. And in India, what happens is that in the forest, some people went and then he will be seen sitting in meditation. Soon the word spread. And in India, it happens, oh, jungle mein ek Baba baitha hai. Bichara wo kuch khana vana kuch nahi hai. So some women will carry some kheer or some fruits and so on. And suddenly, this man who was noseless became very popular and he was enjoying his life very much. Then what happens is, like young people in this audience, there are many questions. I hope there will be some questions even today, the concluding lecture. And one young man approached him. Sir, what is it? Sir, I love you so much. I admire you, sir. You are so popular, sir. Take me as your disciple. And this man has nothing to teach to the world. He said, no, come after 15 days. Come after 3 months. The boy persisted. After 6 months, this man realized if he did not take him as his disciple, then the others would question his being knowledgeable, that he's not in a position to give any knowledge to this boy. That's why he's shirking his responsibility. He said, okay, come tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. Come with a very sharp knife. He said, sir, why knife? He said, no, don't ask questions. You come with a sharp knife. The young man was very believing, and he believed like you are believing everything Dr. Eswaran telling you, some fairy tales and some, stories and so on. Some look real, some look fictitious. Immediately in the morning when this boy came, that so-called guru took the knife and chopped off the nose of this boy and said, this is the way I was initiated, and you now do the same thing. Anybody who approaches you for knowledge and so on, you cut their nose. That is how in Banaras, a cult of Nakkata sadhus, noseless sadhus, came up. He asked this young man, I'll tell you what the young man's name was. I think don't want to announce it too loudly. I think it was some Narendra Nath or something. Was it Narendra Nath Datta? He had not become famous yet from Bengal. They asked him, sir, why don't you come out? He said, do you want me to come to the world when I have nothing to give? How will I educate the world? I don't want to be like the noseless sadhus. Am I allowed to speak in Punjabi? Nobody will mind my saying. Any objection? I had a teacher at my undergraduate stage. He became a very close friend of mine. But he would not teach anything in the class. And he was a university topper. And he would tell us happily and friendly manner. He said, Mundo ne niyato teacher no kiya. The children do not know, the students don't know anything. What would the teacher know? Believe me, in 2 years, in his paper, he taught us nothing. He was a very popular man. He was very kind to us. What is the duty of a teacher? To teach, yaar. हाँ, आप एक बात कह सकते हैं, 11 लेक्चर्स लिए आपने, हमारा सिलेबस का कोई भी टॉपिक नहीं कवर किया. एक तो टॉपिक किया था, कॉन्फॉर्मेशनल एनालिसिस और साइक्लोहेक्सेन. चलते में कि एक्सियल इक्वेटोरियल हो जाता है और इक्वेटोरियल एक्सियल बन जाता है, and the two chair conformations convert into each other at 19,000 times per second. What technique do you have to prove this? Even NMR spectroscopy becomes very difficult to use when the changes are taking place at very high rapidity or with a high rate of conversion of one structure into the other. As we are concluding this talk, I have narrated you some stories. Some are believable, some look unbelievable. The procedure to refix किसी का नाक तो नहीं कट गई इस talk में. I hope none of you have lost your nose in the meantime. If it's not the case, you don't have to rush and get it refixed. But do not lose your name. Your work in science should be so correct, so factually correct, that nobody should be able to question. Many Nobel laureates are getting into trouble in their papers, research papers, because plagiarism check shows that they have copy-pasted. In this era of chat GPT, it is very easy to copy-paste and produce a document. But many educational institutions in the United States, in particular, probably also in India, have software which can detect any such attempts to change or alter or copy-paste. Also, when you get results from instruments, any instrument, ultraviolet spectrum or infrared spectrum, if you do any changes with your own software, the journals have the ability to catch it. They do not allow you to publish such things. Be truthful. Science is truth. Our college stands for truth. Mahatma Gandhi emphasized truth. Truth is God. Let us accept that we live with each other in a happy fashion, happy manner, learning from each other, complementing each other, keeping the spirit of the Stephania up, the flag flying high. On this note, am I allowed to close this lecture? We had just, I think, crossed 7 o'clock, but less than an hour. Thank you. Maybe before any question answer session starts, let me make a few statements. There have been 11 talks. I need not summarize today's talks. Today's talk covered the diseases of the eye, keratoconus, retinoblastoma, and MOOKP, where a cornea is grown on a tooth over 3 to 4 months. The first one looked more, we had a small discussion on a state-of-the-art eye hospital, Sridhariyam in Kerala, in Koothatukulam, near Kottayam. At the same time, we mentioned the treatment of keratoconus using riboflavin and ultraviolet light, where our own cross-linker could be tried. It could be tried in a hospital like Dr. Arun Sethi's hospital, and ours is a natural compound. I'm not denying riboflavin is also a natural compound, and it takes a little bit of UV rays to treat this patient or these patients. So this is one. But we started the series referring to some new names coined by me post 2012, post 2014 in retirement. These are not fictitious names. These are compounds prepared by me and my team, where each one of them required years of experimental work. Many techniques being used. Vishwamayi, named after the late Professor M.A. Vishwamitra, Department of Physics, IISc Bangalore. Or for that matter, the term full R Azirman, coined by me for a water-soluble, highly active, anti-cancer active nano substance, which is almost no toxicity, and similar results from the single-wall carbon nanotube and from reduced graphene oxide. We found, to our joy, and named the molecule prepared from the soil of Gwal Pahadi in TERI-Gram, Gurugram, and called that compound as Gwal Pahadi acid. One of my students, who is a student of physics currently and has done MSc in physics, has been questioned, as one should. How do we know the purity of our compound? These days, there are so many techniques. For example, thin layer chromatography, LCMS, GCMS, mass spectrometry, NMR spectrometry, spectroscopy. We can see if there are unnecessary, shall we say, impurities. Even melting point, the grand old melting point, is a very reliable exercise. A pure compound melts at a sharp temperature. Benzoic acid, how many of you know the melting point of benzoic acid is 120, and it does not change with weather and so on. It may change under some other conditions, but it's a precise value used to characterize the easiest. Then we can do different forms of chromatography, including what we have lately learned. We don't have it, so we pay the money and get it done. And LCMS, liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, so we can precisely see what is the percentage of purity, and many other techniques. So these three formed the first three lectures, and then we moved on to other topics where, for example, we came across many other interesting things, including, for that matter, can cataract be delayed or reversed? That makes it whole. And there was another set of topics which we touched upon, and that is For example, I talked out there of nano sugar balls. I talked the third alphabets of life, which are glycans, combinations of carbohydrates with proteins. I spoke to you in an entire lecture on similarly the idea that just like Dwalpahari has said, third alphabets of life, we can do printing of microelectronic and nanoelectronic or nanolithography, microlithography with compounds which we have made. For example, microlithography was done with compounds made, one part of it by second year students of St. Stephen's College, who are all professors in different places in America, which was blended with a polymer made by me and my student, who is now highly placed in DRDO in Kanpur, doing very well. And we did it in Tumba, because we didn't immediately have facilities at that time in St. Stephen's College. Having done this, we moved on to other topics which I have covered during this entire series of lectures. The title of this was Cashew Nut Shell Liquid, Microlithography and Nanolithography. Cashew nut shell liquid is a low-cost chemical available in the borders of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka. And it's also available in Thailand. Can you make the microchip with it? I'm telling you, I was granted this patent as early as 2010. The patent was assigned to DRDO, so I wouldn't get any money. So one is not chasing money. One is chasing scientific work, trying to see whether our ideas, what is the idea? Can I use a material available abundantly, cashew nut shell liquid, make some value-added products? We did so from soil, Valpahadi soil. We have done it from that wonderful coal available in Neyveli, which I will briefly refer to as lignite. We have done, if you heard me in an entire lecture on the Ghazipur landfill inert soil. Ghazipur landfill inert soil. There are 4 or 5 such landfills around Delhi and in Haryana and other places. The question that is asked is, this municipal city solid waste, can we isolate useful compounds? We have isolated, but the referees are not kind. They want even greater characterization. Can you see 8 triple bonds? How are you proposing an oligo-octane? That means 16 carbon atoms with triple bond, single bond, triple bond, single bond. Yes, one way to do it is put bromine. In all of you who have worked in St. Stephen's College in the lab, we keep bromine water, which is red in color. If you put it in an olefin or an acetylene, the color disappears. You know there is unsaturation. But the unsaturation was detected by us from its molecular form. Hydrogen to carbon ratio is so low. Hydrogen is almost not there. It's only carbon. The only way we could satisfy the molecular formula was to put the triple bonds there, along with other groups. But detailed studies, if we insist, if you notice today, we did not include even one chemical structure. 2 chemical structures we had put, I asked them to be removed. Because chemists should also be able to talk without chemical structures. Though chemical structures is our language. Chemistry is a language of communicating about our science. We need not be ashamed. One physicist, Nobel laureate, I was hearing day before yesterday from England, was saying, chemistry has words, terms, concepts with names, very difficult to learn. Many students of physics, mathematics, and arts and other subjects in college, commerce, finance, they say chemistry se dar lagta hai. Too complicated for us. Many senior scientists have told me, we don't know chemistry. So this happened with Carl Gerasi, CARLDJERASSI, Carl Gerasi. I interviewed him at midnight in Hyatt Hotel in 1990 in New Delhi. He has written a book where a Punjabi girl cheats in her science. This happened to Ronald Breslow, for which he lost his Nobel Prize. So he makes a story of this. When his daughter committed suicide and died, he used his money to set up an art center where people wanted to do different forms of art could come and work. And cooperate and collaborate with each other. Carl Gerasi wrote a book about him. It was written by the American Chemical Society, available in St. Stephen's College Library. There are 25 books, each $25, blue cover, bought long back in St. Stephen's College. Steroids made it possible. He was an expert in mass spectrometry. He was an expert in circular dichroism, to which we made a reference the other day. So he wrote also novels, became a literary figure, died only a couple of years ago, but had done tremendous work. Question is that third alphabets of life. दूसरे alphabets क्या है भाई? Amino acids और DNA या nucleotides. कौन सा पहले आया था? Nucleotide पहले आया था या ये आया था? क्या कहते हैं? Amino acids. और ये third क्या है भाई? Glycans. Carbohydrates mixed with, amino acids or whatever that. Now the question is the proteins, for example. Proteins plus the carbohydrates. But these carbohydrates are not the ones that we commonly talk about. Glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose. But these are given very wonderful codes called sugar codes. And eventually all this will be sorted out just like your letters are sorted based on PIN codes. It's a completely automatic process. I have not gone and seen it in the central place where the letters are separated code-wise and then given to the postman. Nowadays, who reads or who receives, letters by post? It's mostly email. So maybe it looks outdated. Even amino acids. In my era, when I was a student, ALA stood for alanine. GLY stood for glycine. Today, it's all replaced by one letters. A, alanine. G, glycine. W, tryptophan. Who will tell you W is tryptophan? So you have to memorize it because one letters, alphabets are easier for the computer to be handling. So the entire information is fed into the computer in such form. In second year, many of you are learning in your computer paper how to represent chemical structures in different forms using alphabets and so on. You learned it. I'm told by some students that this is part of second year course. I think it's called SMILES or something. Those who are familiar can comment on it. So like this, we went on to other subjects. I need not repeat all of them. You have been very patient with me. Today I've taken a few minutes extra and we have covered the hour or just crossed the hour. This was to tell you that we have covered a range of topics. We have not remained close to the textbook because the purpose was, what has this old man done in retirement? Post-retirement at the age of 65, 12 years plus. Under what conditions is this man doing his work? Under what? Who funds him? Where are the instruments? And how are these papers funded? What is the philosophy? Philosophy is, can we have starting materials which are low cost, available in tonnage quantities? Can you isolate new materials from them? Those who are going away from these lecture series with the impression that this is all finished work, totally wrong statement of mine. For example, GLF, Ghazipur landfill compounds, GLF NSIC 14, GLF NSIC, GLF. Many more PhD theses have to be done on this to prove the structures. I told you the other day, neem se jo bana compound hai azadiractine. It produced 44 PhDs and so many papers in Oxford. And then only the final total synthesis was done in the lab to prove the structure. So you have to look at the structure from so many angles. Today, 2D NMR spectroscopy, which I am not, two-dimensional NMR spectroscopy is very helpful, provided your compound. See how to catch a photograph of a very dangerous tiger. Very difficult if the tiger is running at high speed. And you are advised, if you are a very good photographer, and photography has been a very big hobby in St. Stephen's College, and the Photography Society lab was inside the chemistry department for many, many years. We did not graduate to color photography, I think, mostly black and white. But if you want to capture a photograph of a live lion, you have to go as close to the lion and shoot. But do you think the lion is going to be quiet if you did so? So the same applies to us. We have to make serious effort to question our own data, our own observations, our own interpretations. Particularly, let us say we don't have to question our data, our observations. We are 100% sure on our observations, but our interpretations may go wrong. Some of you may have liked these lectures. Some of you may not have liked these lectures. But here is an old man trying to demonstrate. यार 1.5 घंटा मैं आपके साथ बात कर रहा हूँ अलग अलग टॉपिक्स। ये किताबों में नहीं है, किताबों में आएंगी और कुछ इनके ऊपर क्वेश्चंस यूजीसी नेट एग्जामिनेशन में बनाए जाएंगे। पर मेरी राय में किसी को क्रिटिसाइज नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, पर मल्टीपल चॉइस टाइप क्वेश्चन से आप लोगों को सेलेक्ट करेंगे 12वीं क्लास में और इम्तहानों में फॉर एडमिशन टू यूनिवर्सिटीज, IITs वगैरह वगैरह, नहीं चलने वाला। Where is the creativity of a student who has scored 67% marks in the 12th class? How can you assess him? He may be a genius. Look at our own mathematician, the genius, Ramanujan. He didn't even clear his English, the BA. It's only because of the British Englishman who saw his genius and sent the entire set of notes to England, where the professor said, this is unbelievable. I don't think Einstein was a very poor teacher with a poor handwriting. Do you think these people, I don't think even got admission in that place where he wanted to go, ETH, Eidgenössische Technische Hochschule, where his girlfriend got admission. He did not get admission. Hargobind Khurana, our own Hargobind Khurana, whom I saw in St. Stephen's College. He, after his PhD from Cambridge, returned to Delhi. He was rejected in a lecturer's interview. He went back to Switzerland, went to the lab of the Nobel laureate Vladimir Krylov and said, sir, I'm prepared to work in your lab. I don't want any money. Please allow me to work. If somebody comes like this, would you say no? Krylov allowed it. Krylov is a Nobel laureate. And in Krylov's lab, Hargobind Khurana learned to use that reagent, dicyclohexyl carbodiamide, DCC. आज भी हम अपने लैब में यूज कर रहे हैं to put two protected amino acids together to make a peptide bond. Very easy. Overnight you stir and filter the DCC urea away. You get the peptide from the solution. On this note, organizers, I thank you once again. I thank the principal of the college for having allowed that this series of lectures be held. I have made my effort, but why have I not remained close to the syllabus? सिलेबस की तो पढ़ाई होती है, कभी कोई टीचर नहीं पढ़ाते हैं, उनकी गलती है. Some teachers do not teach, but they should teach everything that is there in the syllabus, not missing out anything. They should inspire young people. That is not the purpose of this lecture series. मैं आपको नाइट्रेशन ऑफ बेंजीन का मैकेनिज्म सिखा दूं, 2 घंटे बोलूंगा मैं इसको, शायद आपके नंबर अच्छे आएंगे इंसान. हमने हर एक स्टूडेंट को सेंट स्टीफेंस कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी इम्तिहान में, इंडिपेंडेंट एग्जामिनेशन इवैल्यूएशन में बड़े अच्छे नंबर दिलवाए, उनको ट्रेनिंग करके, क्लासों में, ट्यूटोरियल्स में, पर्सनल लेवल डिस्कशंस में. पर जो बात ये है, ये पर्पस नहीं था इस क्लास का और इस सीरीज का लेक्चर्स का. ऐसे लेक्चर सीरीज मैं कम ही जानता हूं जो कहीं इंडिया में होते. तो मेरे को अपनी तरफ से let me thank the head of the department, Dr. Vibha Sharma, my former student, who has been so kind as to not only ask me to deliver these lectures, she has, I think, attended the lectures herself online and heard me. And I am grateful to her, the principal of the college, to the other staff members, and particularly to the members of the Chemistry Society of St. Stephen's College. Which you see, ये कहना बच्चे टीचर्स को पढ़ाएंगे, हम दोनों एक दूसरे से सीखते हैं. छोटे बच्चे घर में क्या कहते हैं, मम्मी आपको कुछ नहीं आता, आपको कुछ नहीं आता, you don't know anything. My teacher knows everything. The teacher may have taught something wrong, but he will or she will believe only the teacher and not the parents. Shall I close now? We have slightly gone beyond the schedule. Thank you once again.
The stage is now open for questions. If you have any kind of questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, or else you can put your query in the chat box. Hello, sir.
हेलो हेलो
Who is this?
सर, मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूँ जो कि शायद रेलिवेंट भी है और शायद नहीं भी है, वो अपने आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं। सर, मुझे ये जानना है कि एक लाइव प्रॉब्लम के साथ लाइफ कैसे बिताया जाता है, कैसे एक प्रॉब्लम को जिंदगी बना दी जाती है और बहुत लंबे समय तक उस प्रॉब्लम के साथ जिया जाता है और समय समय पे उसको रिवाइज भी किया जाता है, जो कि मैं ऑब्जर्व कर रहा हूँ थोड़ा मात्रा में, बहुत ज्यादा तो नहीं कह सकते क्योंकि अभी तो एक डिकेड भी नहीं हुआ है। तो ये चीज मेरे क्वेश्चन में था, वो शायद मेरे लिए ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस है और के लिए कितना है वो वही डिसाइड कर लेंगे।
बहुत अच्छा सवाल है, संक्षिप्त में जवाब दूंगा। I will give a brief answer. 1966, I had just joined the MSc Delhi University, first year MSc previous. So once a week, one professor used to come and he would wear a Gandhi topi. He would sometimes come well dressed with a tie and so on. And I liked him very much because I knew he's a famous man. All of us like to meet famous people. I don't know, some of you may like to meet Shah Rukh Khan in person. I don't know that lady whose father was a badminton champion. I know his name and I know his daughter's name. And see, the famous people को मिलना कौन नहीं चाहता। जब मैं आई तो वो प्रोफेसर साहब 66 years old he was. We were told he's a heart patient, so he won't climb first floor into the first floor. From the day I met him into 1968, when I finished my MSc, I knew I had to go nowhere else. I want to work with him. I joined him for PhD in 1968. I finished my experimental work in December 72, while full-time working as a lecturer of the college in St. Stephen's. Please note this, very rare at that time. It's not allowed. So then 73 May, I got my PhD. 75 September, Professor Sheshadri, T.R. Sheshadri, Thiruvenkata Rajendra Sheshadri, who was a fellow of the Royal Society London, possibly at that time the only fellow of the Royal Society London, is almost a shade below the Nobel Prize. I worked with him till his last day. He had charged my battery for life. I hope you have got the answer. एक आदमी ने मेरे को जिंदगी का रास्ता दिखा दिया, काम करो काम करो काम करो। पर आपका सवाल में दूसरा भाग भी है, जिंदगी में सिर्फ काम 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 तो नहीं है। एक बंगाली, uneducated Bengali, some people called him Pagol, living in Dakshineshwar in a temple as a priest. He said this, you see, Kolhu ka bag. You know, that is, you might have seen it near Hansraj College, maybe it's disappeared now. There is a ox or there's a bull which keeps going around making tilka tel. He produces oil, gets nothing the whole day to eat. And that is Kolhu ka bag. If you are working all the time, this brilliant person from Dakshineshwar near Kolkata said, I have nothing to do with the person who is working all the time. How can he be creative? Life भी चलानी है, फैमिली के साथ भी अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज निभानी है, सोसाइटल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज निभानी है, पैसा भी कमाना है, खाना भी खाना है, और सब कुछ हम कर पाए, साथ साथ हम कंटिन्यूअसली कैन वी बी एंगेज इन हाई क्वालिटी साइंस। इस आदमी को मैंने 9 साल देखा, 9 years. I was convinced this is a good model. I never appeared for any examinations which were on offer, and I continued to work in college till the age barrier came. After 44 years of work, I had to leave I was allowed as a CSIR Emeritus scientist to stay on in college for 2 more years till to 2014, when I had to leave St. Stephen's College. I'm attached to the college. Our physical body may be away, but we are part of the college setup. तो अपने आप को एक इंस्टीट्यूशन, एक सब्जेक्ट और एक डिसिप्लिन के साथ, प्रेरणा के साथ, दूसरों का प्रेरणा का स्रोत बनते. एक स्टूडेंट केम, ही वेंट टू ऑक्सफोर्ड और कैम्ब्रिज. He said, "Sir, can I say something?" He said, "Yes." "Sir, do you know that you may be a role model for others?" I said, "I didn't realize this." See, I realized that Professor T.R. Seshadri was a role model for me. He died in 1975. 49 years ago, he died. I feel he's standing right by my side and say, "Oh, 1.25 घंटे से बोल रहे हो, पानी भी नहीं पिया, करो थोड़ा पानी तो पी लेते भाई, ये अच्छा रहता." आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट यू आर वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड. कुछ नहीं तुम्हारे पास, कोई बात नहीं, ऊपर वाला देगा. सेंट स्टीफेंस में हम पैसे के पीछे नहीं भागे. जो हमारे पहले पूर्वज रहे, वो चर्च में कहीं प्रे करते थे, हम लोगों के अच्छाई के लिए प्रे करते थे. कभी कभार कॉलेज आते थे. उनकी दुआ से, कि अच्छे प्रेयर्स से कॉलेज इतना फेमस हुआ. छोटा सा कॉलेज 1881 में, 1881. तो लगे रहो. डोंट आस्क मी टू ऐड अनदर वर्ड फ्रॉम बॉलीवुड. लगे रहो. कीप ऑन वर्किंग, बट डोंट बी योक्ड टू द प्लाउ. Don't be yoked to the plow, said this man, uneducated man from Dakshineshwar in Bengal. काम करते रहो और कभी अपने आप को ये मत बोलो कि मेरे को ये नहीं मिला. जो ऊपर वाला देता है, वो तो देता है, छप्पर फाड़ के देता है. He gives you so much, so bountiful that you will have no complaint. सुजित, ये कुछ ठीक ठाक जवाब है कि नहीं?
सर जवाब है. उसमें एक और क्वेश्चन अगर अलाउ है तो पूछ सकते हैं, नहीं तो हम बाद में पूछ सकते हैं.
पूछिए, बाकी बच्चे भी आएंगे भी हिम्मत करके.
जी सर. इन जनरल बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल यूज करते हैं लोग, और आज के टाइम में पूजा पाठ का समय चल रहा है नॉर्थ इंडिया में खास के,
सारे पूरा इंडिया में.
हाँ, जहाँ पे हर घर में दीपक जलता है. दीपक इट मीन्स व्हाट, कि अगर आपको प्रकाश देना है तो आपको जलना पड़ेगा. तो जलने का क्या कंडीशन होगा वो बता दीजिए प्लीज.
सी, इसके लिए एक वर्ड है इंग्लिश में, हाफ हाइफन है बीच में, सेल्फ abnegation. Self abnegation, that means कुछ रहे ना मेरा अपनापन. Then you know that the salt doll which went to measure the depth of ocean, but it had not taken chemistry classes, so it did not know law of mass action would work. But the salt doll which went to measure the depth of ocean, क्या chance है कि it actually achieved its aim? अपने आप को डिसॉल्व करते हुए. ये बारिश की बूंद है. अभी यहाँ नॉर्थ ईस्ट मानसून आया है, अभी साउथ वेस्ट मानसून खत्म हुआ है. बारिश की बूंद गिर रही थी, रो रही थी, मेरा क्या हो? Now I lose my identity. So it was told, no, you will fall into the river or into the ocean, and you will realize your true identity. Your true identity is आप इतना विशाल हो, आप लोकलाइज नहीं हो, ये छोटी सी चीज नहीं हो, ये शरीर नहीं हो, ये बहुत बड़ी चीज है. You are part. I jokingly said the other day, when I was working and started teaching in St. Stephen's College, some of you were living on Jupiter or Mars or far beyond in outer space. And then suddenly, as Dr. Selvamurthy, who is the permanent scientific advisor to the Amity University of institutions, he said one lecture I heard that we are all here for enjoying a stay in the human body. We'll go back. We'll come here to experience life, but we'll go back. We are all stars. We are all stars. हमारे यहाँ बिलीव करते हैं, और इंग्लैंड में भी ये चर्चा होती है कि कुछ लोग स्टार्स बन जाते हैं. ऐसी बात अभी किसी के लिए चर्चा अमेरिका से हुई तो वो तो स्टार बन गए. We are all stars who have descended for a short stay in the human body, because the human body is an instrument, Indians believe, which helps you to progress. So it's slightly philosophical, slightly conjectural note. I would like to close your question with this comment. Next question, if there is any. I thank Sujit for putting up some very general themes which are more philosophical. And since Stephen's खासकर और भी बच्चे हैं कहीं से मैं जानता हूँ है यहाँ हम इसको भी accept करते हैं. Any other student?
Good evening, sir. The stories you shared today were truly interesting. I do not have any questions regarding the talk, but I would love to hear any suggestion that you might have for young budding chemists like myself and others in the audience.
Who is this? Is it?
So
Who is it?
This is procedure.
बहुत अच्छा
This is
सवाल है.
procedure.
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा. आपका क्वेश्चन, आपका नाम थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है मेरे को प्रोनाउंस करने के लिए, सीखना पड़ेगा आपसे. देखो, मेरा उदाहरण मैंने अपने आप दिया, but there are so many others in scientific literature. Actually, you see, what is important is that the question is, what is the advice? या कुछ करते हो. Do something that interests you, not something that interests somebody else. No. Whatever interests you. I never said chemistry. I said not only just chemistry. It may be music. It may be theater. It may be films. It may be painting. It may be writing a poetry. It may be anything that interests you. And Sujit's question was, can you complement this with science? I think that is the challenge. Let me give the example of Nobel laureate from India, C.V. Raman's brother's son, S. Chandrasekhar. He won the Nobel Prize after much criticism of his work in the initial stages. You know, there is this book by Kameshwar Wali, W-A-L-I, Chandrasekhar. Wali, a physics teacher in America, walked up to Chandrasekhar and said, "Sir, I have met you in many conferences. Can I write a book on you?" So they met many times. He wrote a book. It's a very, very readable book. If you sit down, you will not put the book down till you finish it. You know what at the end of the book? Chandrasekhar tells Kameshwar Wali, "Yaar, mere se galti ho gayi. लग रहा है. मेरे को तो वायलिन बजाना, म्यूजिक में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट था. But I won a Nobel Prize in physics. But you know, I think I got it wrong. That Narendranath Dutt, who is known in India today, revered as Swami Vivekananda. At the end of his life, he had lingering doubt where I got it all wrong. मेरे को तो चौकड़ी मार के मेडिटेशन में बैठना था, बहुत अच्छा पसंद था मेरे को. पर वो जो आदमी है जिसने मेरे को डायरेक्ट किया, जिसके हाथ में चाबी चली गई, जिसने कहा मेरे हाथ में चाबी है, जाओ दुनिया को कॉन्कर करो, जाओ. You are not one who is supposed to sit down cross-legged, deep meditation. You have to serve people. Somebody explained to me today that the Ramakrishna mission stands for more towards karma yoga. And he says some other, like ISKCON and so on, are more towards bhakti yoga. And some others here in Coimbatore are, say for example, which are highlighting knowledge, are more geared towards jnana yoga. There is another form of yoga as well. 4 yoga books written by this man during his lectures in America. But what is important is, you may take any path, whether you like doing work, serving others. But one thing which is very simple, don't be selfish. Become selfless. इसको कहते हैं कर्म से निष्काम कर्म, और कर्म की फल को मत इच्छा कर. Your duty is only to do your allotted work. It doesn't mean that you become a slave to your teacher. You must question the teacher. I don't want to use the word guru and so on. But whoever is teaching you, question them. Let them pass the test and answer your questions. You could have told me, sir, आपने कुछ नहीं पढ़ाया 11 lectures में, पता नहीं अपने काम के बारे में बताए. हम तो चाहते थे इम्तिहान में और नंबर मिल जाए, कुछ आप बता देते. For example, mechanism of some very, very wonderful reactions that we have studied in college, be it in inorganic chemistry, be it in organic chemistry, and the entire subject is known as physical organic chemistry, which uses a lot of physical chemistry, and today also computation added to it with biology. Chemistry is a central science. But somebody wrote in 1899 that all the science that is to be discovered has already been discovered. When you are a student in college in third year, you have studied so much of science, school, college, you do a postgraduate degree, a doctoral degree. You will say, I know everything in this world. But what did Newton say? I only collected some pebbles from the ocean shore. हम लोग सब थोड़ा बहुत साइंस करते हैं, वही हमको बहुत ज्यादा लगता है. But I say, an entire life dedicated to science, not being a dry bone. Some people describe maybe philosophers as people being very dry. ऐसी बात नहीं है. मैं आर्थर शोपेनहावर के बारे में बहुत बात करता हूँ. He used to love Indian philosophy, and he was a very charming person. He enjoyed everything good in life. किसी ने कहा कि इसको मत enjoy करो, पैसा मत कमाओ. He was a rich man. Nobody said you should not earn, but don't live for yourself. Those alone live who live for others. Others are more dead than being alive. सवाल ये है कि इस फिलॉसफी को, इंडियन फिलॉसफी को रखते हुए, अपने आप को खुश रखते हुए, अच्छी सेहत में रखते हुए, दूसरों के साथ अच्छा बर्ताव करते हुए सोसाइटी में यदि हम एक दूसरे को मदद करें, I think this should be the ultimate aim. That's where the aims and the objectives of St. Stephen's College are very different. That's where whenever you go anywhere in India or abroad, within minutes the Stephenian stands loud and clear. ये कोई बुरा ना माने कि कोई हमारे स्टूडेंट्स दूसरे कॉलेजेस से हों, बुरा ना माने, या हर कॉलेज में अच्छा इंडिया भर में हो रहा है. But we have one small problem. Where are people who will inspire you? Whom will you take as a role model? बहुत मुश्किल. मेरे को एक रोल मॉडल 21 साल की उम्र में मिल गए. इतने साल में उनको याद रख रहा हूँ. And he blesses me. Go on doing your science. The question is, go to the best people in your area, chosen area. Go to them. Work with them. Hargobind Khurana went to Vladimir Prilo, telling, sir, आप मेरे को पैसा नहीं है, पैसा मत दीजिए, मैं खुद अपने पैसे में आ जाऊं. 6 महीने साल भर वहां काम किया. कोई और है? किसी का और सवाल है? Any other person having a question or two?
Good evening, everyone. I, Professor Garg, the President of the Chemistry Society, St. Stephen's College, and it is my great pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks as we conclude this enriching 11-day lecture series. On behalf of the Chemistry Society and the Chemistry Department, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have contributed to making this event such a success. We had the honor of listening to Professor Eswaran, who enriched us with his deep insight into various domains, expanding organic chemistry, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and material sciences. Throughout the series, we delved into numerous fascinating topics. Day 1 introduced us to concepts such as reactive intermediates, nitrates, carbenes, and their transformations, including the Cratius reaction and the importance of singlet and triplet nitrene states. Day 2 brought an intriguing discussion on fullerene mines, the potential of nanocarbon materials, and their implications in expanding the human lifespan. On day 3, we explored humic substances and non-proteogenic amino acid, adding a unique perspective to organic chemistry. Day 4 shifted our focus to medicinal chemistry, discussing whether cataracts are an age-related disease. It triggers and remarkable potential of lanosterol in reversing cataracts. On day 5, we explored the use of cashew nut cell liquid in nanolithography. Day 6 covered the antibody-drug conjugates, the need for them, and how click chemistry plays a role in their synthesis. Day 7 touched upon the third alphabets of life, introducing a new dimension to biological understanding. Day 8 enlightened us on the health benefits of IP6, its role as an antioxidant, and its potential in cancer treatment. Day 9 took us to a more practical discussion on waste management, examining the Gazipur landfill and innovative approaches such as using oligo-octanes for treating brain diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. They then address the pressing environmental issues, explaining why coal-based power plants are being shut down and exploring alternatives like biocyclonones and their potential role in treating brain diseases. Finally, day 11 concluded with a fascinating discussion on the interaction of allopathy and Ayurveda, their importance in daily life and common ground between the two, including Ayurvedic treatments for eye diseases in India. We are truly grateful to you, Professor Niswaran, for dedicating your time, expertise to enlighten us. Your lectures have broadened our horizons and inspired to delve deeper into these topics. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our principal, Professor John Varghese, for giving us the opportunity to conduct this wonderful event, and to our head of the department, Dr. Viva Sharma, for her unwavering support throughout. A special thanks to our staff advisor, Dr. Jyotimar Mehti, for his guidance and encouragement. To everyone present, thank you for your active participation, without which this event would not have been possible. Let us carry forward the knowledge, the inspiration, and the connections we have gained from this series as we continue to pursue excellence in our respective fields. Thank you.
Delighted you spoke so well and summarized the series so well. All of you speak so well. I congratulate you. Thank you once again. And we close this meeting with a word of thanks. Thank you once again from my side. Thank you. Bye.